Welcome to another Quantum Conversation. I'm Loren Gailey, and I invite you to sit back as we enter the quantum realm, that space of the greater part of you. It is your connection to infinite possibilities, infinite potential, and infinite mastery. In this quantum conversation, we have another activation for you. We are with the dragon energy today and dragon light codes. My guest is Teresa Wynn. She is a dragon channel, a sound therapist, and a well-being thought leader. Let's welcome Teresa. Hi, Teresa. Thank you for being here.
Hey Lauren. Hi everyone. I am thrilled to be here. Thank you.
This is very interesting because here you are in your world on the planet. We can say on the 3D world, you are a registered nurse.
Mhm.
And so, can you share with us how everything you've done in your life has gotten you to this point today on your journey?
Yeah, man. I mean,
Yeah.
it's always a journey, right? It's never just like one day you wake up and you're like, I'm gonna be a dragon channel or I'm gonna be an energy healer. In fact, I never wanted any of that early in my career. I thought it was very very woo. It wasn't backed by science. I didn't have like hard evidence. And so in my nursing career that like everything it's all about data and studies and evidence, like show me the proof.
Mhm.
And so that's kind of the world that I lived in. However, as a nurse, you can't help but feel. You can't help but have this desire to want to serve. I mean, that's why people go into these types of careers. I mean, most people at least. And I think that my desire to want to make a difference in people's lives, like that has always been something that I've known my whole life. Like even as a 5-year old, I remember feeling so much empathy for kids who I could see, didn't have the same things I did. Or, my dad would make us watch like documentaries on PBS about third world countries. And, it just like I could just feel all of that. And I didn't know what it was or what it meant. I just knew like that I just had this desire to do something to help make people's lives better. And I think that through my nursing career, being able to really leverage that empathy and being able to at that time, I don't think I would have called it intuition, but knowing how people felt and knowing, what they thought, that helped me with how to make them feel more comfortable in an environment that was very sterile. In an environment where you were just constantly being, you know, um, I don't want to call it attack, but there's stimulus everywhere and all the time. And then energies from every place, every floor, it's a lot of things to manage. And so have having been a nurse in the hospital and knowing what the patients go through, knowing all the things that they have to experience to heal, but also the things that they, don't anticipate having to deal with as a patient. I feel like I learned how to hold like a really loving, safe space for people to be able to um, optimize their health in an environment that wasn't really, the best place to heal, even though hospitals are like, everybody says, you're sick, you go to the hospital, right? Well, they're not like the best places to heal. Um,
Mm.
and so all of that, I feel like it was packaged very nicely in that way where I had this wonderful, strong foundation of a mission. All I knew is I wanted to help people. And do you want me to go through all the different sort of highlights of my journey, Lauren? Or I'm not sure like how much you want me to share. I could skip all the way to where the dragons came in too.
We're going to get to the dragons because, last year was a dragon year. And
Mhm.
so That really is extraordinary and what people have felt with the dragons, and that's really exciting. But I love this notion of you as a registered nurse.
Mhm.
That shows you since you were a little girl that you were altruistic. You
Mhm.
truly cared and you saw, and this is your empath that you are and your intuition that you knew that you wanted to help people. And so that's really beautiful. When you were in the hospital, you said that that's not the most optimal place for people to heal. So I want to ask, did you ever experience ghosts or disincarnates in the hospital? No.
No, like I was so closed off to all of that. I mean, I was raised as a Catholic, and I'm still Catholic. I still go to church. So for all of you who feel like you can't be spiritual and go to church, you certainly can.
Yes.
But back then, there were a lot of stories and a lot of things that were told to me about what we call spirituality today. And it was evil, it was the devil's work. And so there was a lot of fear around that for me. And so I completely blocked any of that at all. So I never saw, I never felt, although
Okay.
I will say I could feel when a patient, and this is a lot of nurses, not just me, but you always know when like a patient is decompensating, like when they're not doing well, when they possibly might die today or very soon. Like you have that
Yeah.
feeling and that sense. And that, is I don't know if it's a part of the whole anyone who comes into nursing. But that I could feel like the impending death of someone's human life. I always knew that was coming. I always had a feeling that, oh my God, this guy is going to code his heart is going to stop. And most of the
Wow.
time that would happen during my shift. So those types of things would
Wow.
happen. But thankfully, I never saw ghosts or souls or anything like that. Because I think if I did, I wouldn't know how to deal with it. I would have probably just like quit and go to a different hospital, and
Oh,
probably
yeah.
encounter the same thing. And then I don't know, I would just put myself in this tailspin of fear, because there was so much fear. I can't even describe the amount and the depth of it that I felt. And I've been a nurse for, gosh, I don't even know now. It's probably close to 25 years.
Wow.
So it took almost 2 decades to work through all of that.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Wow. Okay. So then this is the juicy part. At what point did you really go meta spiritual and meet the dragons and get on this what happened?
Yeah,
Like,
so
yeah.
yeah. So very quickly, about 12 or 13 years ago, I went to this Halloween seance. And again, I was like not into the woo, but I thought it'd be really cool. I was super curious. I ended up getting a wonderful, amazing reading about basically it was my grandmother coming forward telling me that I would be a energy healer. I didn't listen to any of it. I was like, nope, this isn't for me. This doesn't make any sense. What a waste of time, you know? But I remember the reading very clearly. I mean, she shared about the lineage of women on my mother's side who had these spiritual gifts that they weren't able to practice while they were alive. So it continues to get passed on through generation to generation till the one person, who finally decides and who's courageous enough to be able to open up to that and receive it and practice it. And I was like, nope, that is not me. But I was at this place in my life where I felt very stuck. And I was doing everything possible to overcome it. And it had to do with a business that I was creating, nothing to do with spirituality business. And I dove into spirituality that way because I tried everything else and I couldn't get over the hump. So I thought, well, I'll
Mm,
just try this. Maybe somebody can clear something and allow me to be able to now move up or promote in my business. But as I started working with these spiritual mentors, essentially, um, my spiritual gifts began to open up and my third eye started opening up. And eventually was able, and it was slow, okay, and it needed to be slow because again, I was working through a lot of fear, remember? But
Mm.
eventually I became an energy healer. But it wasn't then that I even believed in dragons. At that point, I still didn't believe in dragons. I'm Vietnamese by background, and in our culture, dragons are very much a part of our culture, but they're very mystical. They're very make-believe type of figures. So it's not real energy to us. It's representative of something to us, respect, wisdom, a homage to our ancestors, those types of symbols. And fast forward to about 4 years ago, I went to a retreat in Mount Shasta. I was part of the support team. And I read a little bit about Mount Shasta. I heard that there was dragon energy. I heard that there were these um, people who lived in the mountains, and it was all very, it was a lot. It was a lot for me to like not believe, but kind of digest. But I
Yeah.
went anyway, knowing that I was going to be helping these women. And the first night was a sound bath. As soon as my friend, who was the main facilitator of the retreat, told me that we were doing a sound bath that night, there was something in me that was like, something's going to happen, like to me. And I had no idea what it was, Lauren. I just had this feeling that there was going to be I would have some sort of experience. And I told my friend that I said, okay, I don't know what's going on, but I just keep an eye on me that night because I think something's going to happen. So we walk into the yurt and my heart starts to race just out of nowhere. I'm not even nervous. I don't know what's going on. I'm trying to like take some deep breaths to slow down my heart rate to try to like calm my nervous system. Like, what is happening? Like, fight, flight, and freeze is happening right now. I mean, my sympathetic nervous system is like on high alert, and I have no idea why. I didn't come in nervous. I wasn't even coming in anticipating anything, It's like I was just there to relax, but the complete
Uh,
opposite thing happened. Yeah. And so
yeah.
I thought, okay, the sound bath is going to start soon. This is just going to make me chill. So Teresa, just relax as much as you can. Go lay down. So I went and laid down. My heart was still racing. Um, and the sound bath facilitator, she starts to beat her drum. And with every time that mallet hit the drum, it was like this energy started to expand within my body. Expand isn't even the right word. It just got so intense. And I kept trying to push it down. And I was like this, just trying to keep it in because whatever it was, it was not familiar to me. I did
Mm.
not feel safe. And I thought, oh my God, like whatever this is, what if I go crazy and I start killing people? Like those crazy thoughts were coming in my head because its energy was so intense and it
Wow.
was taking over my entire body. It was just like electricity, like wanting to come out of me. And at some point, I could not hold it any longer. So I was like, I just have to let go. So I started to let go. And as soon as I did, I started making these really strange noises. And they were like coming from the back of my throat, like, and then hissing sounds, like, and tongue rolling. I mean, so weird, Like I would never intentionally make those sounds. And as soon as I started making those noises, my friend came over because she remembered that I said something's going to happen. She came over and she's like, I'm here, you're safe. And when I felt like I was actually in a safe space, I just completely surrendered. And I was like, I don't know what the F this is, but I'm just going to allow it because I know like that I'm safe. I know that I'm safe. And so I started making all those noises and the energy continued to run up and down my body. I was convulsing and I was on nothing. I just had food, for dinner. So there was no substances or psychedelics or medicine involved with this. It's like an activation, and 5 minutes into it, I opened my eyes and I saw dragons flying above me in the yurt. And right away, I was like, oh my God, dragons are in my body. Like that is what's happening.
Wow.
And my friend who was there with me, she was channeling them too. They were telling her which chakras to open so that the dragons could come through and which chakras to close so that the other ones could leave. So when you think about dragon energy, we think about the dragons that we see in movies and books, in the media, whatever. And those were the dragons that I saw. But you know that they're very big, like they're enormous energy. I am 5 feet tall, 110 pounds. So imagine this small, dense body trying to hold multiple dragons, at the same time. And that's why my body was reacting that way, because it was like, this is too much. This is not like something that it's used to holding. And this happened for about 45 minutes. But in the meantime, as I was getting more comfortable with just allowing the energy to do what it needed to do, the dragons, through my voice, started participating in the sound bath. So they started harmonizing, with the sound bath facilitators and the bowls, and they were singing this very high, loud vibrato that I usually would not be able to on my own. And so it was like just like this very real, very raw, very intense experience of dragon energy. And not only were they there just to like make sure I knew it was real, like this is something I could not say. I couldn't deny it, right? I couldn't say, well, show me the proof, show me the data, because I experienced it myself. And even though I couldn't explain why or how it was happening, it was happening. And what was I going to say? Just that I guess just that it was an experience that I would never forget in my entire life. It definitely was an activation. Oh, this is what I was going to say. So it was, yes, an activation, but it was also doing a lot of transmutation and transformation of like these blocks and the dense energies that were in my body. It wasn't just them coming into play. There was like a purpose to this. And
Mhm.
what I realized later, after the sound bath was over, I shared with the group, what was happening. And about four of the ladies came up to me later and they said, I had no idea it was you, but also I've never heard of those sounds before, but they felt so familiar to me. And so there would, it also was an activation for other people who were within that retreat. As well, and being able to experience this remembrance, of who they are, and why they're here even. So that's how it started, and since then it's never left me.
Thank you for surrendering and letting that flow through and not getting freaked out. And now this is part of your mission. We are so fortunate. We're going to do a mini transmission in this episode with the dragons and the dragon energy. That's so wonderful.
Mhm.
And I wanted to say that it's very interesting to me, your journey, your experience. You mentioned about 11 years ago. Was this after 2012 or a little bit before, or where in that navigation does 2012 fit in your journey?
I don't remember the exact year. But if it's 2025 now, I mean, I would say it's probably 2012, 2013.
2012,
Yeah.
2013. That makes so much sense because you are a perfect example of this awakening. And as 2012 came and went, and so many of us in this light worker crowd were like, what happened? Wait, nothing happened. But then we learned that something did happen. And
Mhm.
it's one heart at a time. And as your heart opened, right? I mean, you shifted gears completely. Here you were in a hospital in a corporate world, and you bloomed. Your heart bloomed and awakened. So again, that's just beautiful in the timeline of all of it.
Mhm.
So tell us what you know now. Well, actually, can I share a quick story about Mount
Absolutely.
and
Yeah.
dragons? We were in Mount Shasta in 2024 in July,
Mhm.
and we were doing a retreat on Lemuria, and we called in the 21 white
Mhm.
dragons or 21 golden dragons as
Mhm.
well. There's white
Mhm.
and gold. And when we got to the third dragon, the whole everyone was starting to feel the energy as we were calling these dragons in. We were only on number 3 out of 21. The
Mhm.
power went out. Boom, in the room. It went out not only in the town of Mount Shasta, but all the way into the next town over
Oh my gosh.
for 4.5 hours. And so someone that was there was like, this is a reset of the grid.
Mm.
So that's a little bit about dragon energy. What is your take on that? And why Mount Shasta for the dragon energy? Is it because dragons are on the ley lines of the earth? Can you articulate why Mount Shasta, the dragons, and why it was so powerful for you?
Yeah, that's a really good question. So I've never thought about that. I always just, for me, sometimes I take things for what they are and I don't question.
Yeah.
And that was one of the things I never questioned is why dragons and why Mount Shasta. But Mount Shasta is actually one of the chakras um, of the world. So that makes sense as well because, these activations have to happen in a place of like extreme high vibration so that it can support that energy and support the awakenings and also be of an energy in a space um, where where it can only hold the energy of the high frequencies, so we're not going to have like the denser frequencies try to sneak in because they just aren't able to even be in that space. So that's what I'm getting,
Ah.
at least with that question that you ask. Um, so that's why they're in Mount Shasta. Um, there's like some talk about the dragon ley lines being in San Luis Obispo. And I was there. I didn't really, I mean, I saw dragons and I felt dragons, but definitely I didn't feel like a ley line. There was a ley line there.
Mm.
But that's just me, maybe other dragon channels, maybe other spiritual healers and workers, they sensed it, but I didn't sense it. But yeah, sorry to answer your question. It is definitely because it's one of the chakras of the world.
Yes, thank you for that. So, dragon energy then. So here you are, you channel the Dragon Collective, you work with the Dragon Collective.
Hmm.
What is dragon energy then, and how do we all work with it? How does one receive it? Is it from your own story, we can see that it was quite surrendering is a key point.
Yes.
But for the rest of us, what do we do with that?
Yeah. For a long time, Lauren, it was super hard for me to try to articulate what it was. And I had been talking to the Dragon Collective, which is, by the way, a name that I gave them because it's a group of dragons and they didn't want to give themselves a name. So I said, okay, well, I'm just going to call you the Dragon Collective because I don't know what other name to give you. So they identify as that, but that's not really what a name they gave themselves, just to clarify with everybody. Uh, so as I've been working with them, I'm kind of like trying to figure out how can we make this more grounded for people so that they can understand what it is, and then based on that, figure out their own way of tapping into it. And so I've called these now like the 5 pillars of dragon energy. You can call them the five energy or the five powers or five pillars or five gifts. Any one of those is fine. But the first one I call it's the pillar of creation, where it's like this life or life force energy, this orgasmic energy almost. And that's one thing I forgot to leave out during that dragon activation was that it felt very orgasmic, very pleasurable, very what is that word? Not exotic. What is the word?
Sensual,
Yes, there's an E word, erotic,
erotic.
erotic. Yes. Yeah,
Yeah.
I always forget to share that with people, like during that story, because that was part of that experience as well. I think that's why like I stayed in it for so long because it felt really good once I was able to really, allow those fears to melt away and the resistance to just be on the, on the sidelines. I really was able to embody all of that energy. And so I call it the energy of creation, where it's just like this life force energy. It's this untamed energy of the universe that is fertile and regenerative, and it allows us to almost be like, okay, like, yes, I am here, I'm alive, I'm in here to do something. Like that's the energy of creation that gets triggered or gets activated in people when they experience it. So oftentimes when you had mentioned, like you do have to kind of be in this place of surrender to be able to feel this. And when you're open and when you allow yourself to give yourself permission to align with whatever dragon energy that flows through, you will be able to feel it. Your body will start moving, like it starts to slither, it starts to undulate, it starts to
Ah,
convulse. Just a lot of intense energy running through. And it's this deep, like rising, um, like your soul is rising, kind of energy. And then the second,
it sounds like Kundalini, like it's
yeah, it's like
activating.
Kundalini. Yeah, it's like
Wow.
Kundalini for sure.
Wow.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Very cool. All right,
Mhm.
go ahead, please.
Okay,
Yeah.
and then the second one is activation, which is, like the light switch starts to turn on in ourselves. It's all about um, your truth and remembering this ancient wisdom, this ancient ability within you, and you're turning on the power back inside yourself. The light switches are flipping and the codes are turning on. So that's activation, where basically your gifts, and oftentimes they're like gifts that don't have a name to it, meaning yes, it could be, your one of your clear gifts turn on, but also like along with it, you start speaking light language. And it may not be dragon light language, but it's light language. And that light language is working with some sort of deep primal earth energy, that doesn't have a name to it, for example. So it's those kind of things where it's like it's so hard to, there's no name for it. It is so ancient. It's those kind of dormant energies, dormant gifts that come rising up and awaken inside you. And then the third is transformation. So transformation is, like from going from the caterpillar to the chrysalis, not necessarily the caterpillar to the butterfly. This is kind of like you start to feel different in your body. You make different choices, your energy. It's the cocoon. It's messy, it's unclear, but it's very powerful, right? Like a lot of crazy things are happening in the chrysalis. And so that's kind of the transformation period of, or the pillar of dragon energy, like maybe people's gifts are already awakened and now they're just at this point where like, shoot, like what am I doing with all this? Okay, I have to start working with it and figuring it out. And as they start to work with it, it starts to bring up these outdated identities and beliefs and patterns that you learn now that they have to fall away. Like you have to work through them so that you can instead of feeling like it happened to you, it happens for you. And that's kind of where we move into transmutation, where we alchemize the old into something more powerful. So if, for example, someone has gone through a lot of deep familial trauma, and this dragon energy moves them into this deep alchemy. It's not about like changing form necessarily, but it's about dissolving a dissolution of this dense energy or wounded
Mhm.
energy into something more light, strength, wisdom, empowerment. So you meet your pain, you meet your fear, you meet your shadow, you burn it or you transmute it, you alchemize it, and it turns into medicine, right? Like if we think about the things that have happened to us, the painful things that have happened to us, and we've worked through it and we've healed through it, like when we look back on it, it no longer has a power over us, but it's almost like we're honoring that it happened. We're honoring ourselves. And so when you get to that point where you're almost honoring your trauma, like you're honoring the fact that, yes, I went through it. And yes, this is who I am. And yes, it happened. And there's nothing I can do about it. But my God, look at me now. Like that is the transmutation. And then transfiguration is embodying your soul essence. It's you get to the point where you're saying, this is who I am, and you fully own it. It's the butterfly. The butterfly has emerged. The phoenix is rising, and you are the divine made flesh. So, those are very briefly the five pillars of dragon energy that I've worked with the Dragon Collective on to try to ground it in some way for people.
Thank you for that. It's really fascinating, and we are excited to experience the light language that comes through you and this beautiful cellular remembering, this transmission that we're going to do. But I want to ask you before we get there in that beautiful space, tell us why now it's so important for the dragons, for us to behold the dragon energy, make connection. And can we all make connection with the dragon energy? Why is this important?
Yeah. Anyone can connect with dragons, just like anyone can connect with the archangels, for example. Um, but and there's a big but. The people who will make the biggest impact working with dragons are those who like have a desire to change the world. So we're talking healers and light
Mm,
workers and way showers, like we're talking people who want to work with the collective. And so the way there's a lot of different ways you can work with drag. Oh, sorry, why now? Why now? Um, well, because there is a lot of pain going around in the world right now, right? We're in a time of chaos, and there's always going to be chaos, but this is a pivotal time where there is so much work being done behind the scenes. There's so many unseen forces. And so the
right.
dragons are just a part of that team of unseen forces, helping people, those who are willing and able to wake up, to awaken, to allow themselves to activate these gifts because they're so freaking powerful, and to be able to serve and to just get in front of people, whether it is you walking down the street and literally smiling and saying hello to someone because that is giving them love. It's simple things like that. You don't know like what people are going through, like what happened to them. And maybe they just needed someone to say, I see you and I care about you. And that simple gesture of love, like suddenly has raised their vibration. They're coming home now. They're not going to uh, uh, go and feel like a victim for the rest of the day. Instead, they just feel like, oh my God, someone saw me. I'm not invisible anymore. But
Mhm.
also those people, those same people, the way showers, the light workers, the healers, the mentors, the teachers, like you are here to share all of the things you know. And all of the things I know certainly aren't going to resonate with everyone. But some of the things you know are going to resonate with some people as well, right? So we're here to share what we know. We're here to share who we are. We're here to be the examples so that other people feel like they can do the same thing, meaning you're going to see like how weird this dragon channeling is. And I have literally, after that activation happened, I hid for 2 years because I'm like, this is too scary. Like, who does this kind of stuff, you know? And, but when I started showing up, suddenly people were like, Teresa, it's because of you that I'm doing this. It's because of you that I now have the courage and the bravery to show up. Because if you can do this and it's weird as heck, then I can do that too because it doesn't feel as weird anymore. Like watching you, it doesn't feel weird anymore. Like I have to stop putting that label on myself and out there that it's weird. It's just different. It's unique. We are all enigmas, right? Like we all have such unique gifts and contributions. And so we have to show up to be able to put that out there so that those who are meant to receive are going to be able to receive it. It's going to change something in them. It's going to allow them to take action. It's going to spark some courage and bravery. And then it just becomes this ripple effect.
Thank you for your bravery. And again, I can feel that how you are an inspiration to so many. And you're bold, you're courageous, and you're bold. And you're going to be sharing this wisdom no matter how silly it may seem to those in the mainstream, and you're just that role modelness that you bring is very important. And again, it gives all of us license as light workers
Yeah.
to hold the same thing and to really move forward in that caring way. And so it's wonderful that the dragon energy is here at this time right now, because again, it is really wild out there. And I want to say that what a relief to know that there's forces, unseen forces working behind the scenes. In actuality, without going too much into politics, there were some light workers that I know that were over in Israel and they got trapped there. No planes
Hmm.
coming or going. We all know why, what just went on there. And even though they were in that intense time of a little bit of fear, nuclear
Right.
fear, right? Not sleeping because of the fear, almost addicted to the latest news report to see what's going on in this seemingly chaos. All of them sensed something miraculous happening underneath it all. For example, a hospital, it's atrocious to even be saying this, it feels atrocious, but a hospital was bombed, not one person suffered or died in that incident. So there's certain things in this seemingly chaos that we can start to peek and see this overall structure.
Yeah.
And to me, I really sense it goes back to maybe a planetary grid of Lemuria, a remembrance of Lemuria. And that's just my personal take on it. But it's beautiful that there's something keeping a structure in place. We can't see it yet. To me,
Mm-hmm.
it almost feels like the cymatic, where we have one geometric structure, but as you change the tone, it gets chaotic. That sand on the rice
Mm-hmm.
paper and that image gets distorted. And then we go into a new frequency, and then it's a whole new beautiful image, totally different.
Mm-hmm.
What's your take on all of that? Do you see it similarly, or what's your take?
So my take on it is that it's similar to yours in that as more people start to become aware of the things that they need to change in a good way, right? In a way to improve themselves, it starts to um ruffle people's feathers. So, for example, if I came back from a retreat, say I never did any of this dragon channeling stuff, I came back from retreat as someone who, I don't know, was in a lot of pain and suffering. I hated my life, but I had this amazing experience. I come back just completely loving life. And people around me, my family, suddenly are very uncomfortable with that
Mhm.
because it's a version of me that they have never seen. And my positivity and this light and this vitality and this like zest for life, this type of energy is it scares them, you know? And so I think that as people start to, I'll just call it expansion, if they, as they start to expand in that way, in all the ways that they're doing that, the people around them who aren't necessarily ready for change yet, that is the chaos because it's bumping up against each individual who is growing, you know? And so the collective of all those people where you're feeling that resistance is bumping against that expansion. I feel like that's where
Yeah.
the chaos and the disruption occurs. But it also is very inspirational for others. So it's like, oh my God, Teresa, you know, what did you just go through? You look amazing. You know, like I love your energy. I love how you just have this positivity. I love how you're reframing things. Like, I really need to do that too. So then for others, it becomes like a medicine for
Yeah.
them to be able to kind of walk a similar path, like try to figure out how can I improve my life through changing my actions, my thoughts, my behaviors, my reactions.
And that is how we influence the world by our light, holding our light. That is what when we brought the laggards in from Lemuria, or when we were in Lemuria and we said, bring the laggards to earth because we know our Lemurian unconditional love will radiate and allow them to ascend in that last ascension cycle. Well, we
Mhm.
know what happened. They actually took our energy and we fell from consciousness, but
Mhm.
now we're here to do it again. And because we fell from consciousness, that's so far from love, we now know that choice for love. So, this whole
Mhm.
thing of chaos is giving humanity a beautiful choice point. And so,
Yes,
I will be forever eternally grateful for that. Although it could be hard at times, there's
absolutely.
so many tools that we have. That's the beautiful thing. We have so many tools, so many facilitators like yourself that we can go and reprieve from that chaos as we allow our authenticity to spill forward, to come forward free and clear. So
Mhm.
thank you for explaining that, and thank you for your beautiful work on the planet. Let's experience. This is going to be like an activation, a
Yeah.
DNA activation, light codes, all of it. Go ahead and share with us a little bit about what we can expect and then lead us in this activation.
Okay, yeah. So, the way the dragons channel through me, they use my tongue a lot. I call it tongue dancing. So, for those of you who choose to keep your eyes open, it might feel uncomfortable because you're going to be like, "Why is she moving her tongue so much?" But it is how the energy is transmitted and gets organized. So that's why it dances, and it dances very fast because there's a lot of codes and a lot of data and a lot of energy that's moving and needs to get through to all the different people. Um, and so that's like the main thing. The other, you know, the other things that they do might be like the hissing and the tongue rolling and all of that. But they it might sound kind of aggressive, but it's more just the energy of the dragons like coming through me as the channel. And just remember, dragons are big, so they're not going to be soft spoken. They're going to be loud and they're going to be like kind of abrasive, kind of. But so if that maybe makes you take a step back, it's okay. Just remember that you're in a safe space, that they are of pure love, they are of pure compassion, they are, just this wonderful group of light beings who are here to be of service. So, this activation really is going to be an activation of turning on the light switches. So it might just, maybe you need 5 light switches turned on, and we'll just do 2 today. So just remember, if you don't feel anything, it's okay. Something's happened. We may not know what it is just now, but allow yourself to just kind of relax into it. And if you start to feel sort of like overwhelmed by it, just breathe. I just felt like when I was breathing through that activation at Mount Shasta, that helped me immensely. It just allowed me to take in that energy without any resistance. And I'm just breathing out the fear or whatever's holding me back from really staying open, and just keep breathing. All you have to do is tell yourself to breathe, and you'll feel amazing. So that's what we'll do today. And can we just go ahead and get started then?
Absolutely beautiful. So, do you know about original sound for musicians?
I do.
Okay, beautiful. Thank
Yes.
you, Teresa.
I love that you know that, by the way. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and turn that on. Okay, they're going to go right into it. Okay, so just close your eyes and just breathe. Deep breath. Deep breath. Nai adla kai et rai taka et kwa la 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 ta ai ka kwa a hai taka et ki et kwa het kra kai et kola ta kai la 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 et kri taka so roi so ko te hit krai ka kai no no a taka ri ta ko it krai te roi to ko te it kri ta krai ta krai ta krai nai et ko to et krai ta kai et kai
I felt that. That was palpable. And, it brought up a memory. Thank you for that. I'm not going to go into it. It's pretty personal
Yeah.
and it's pretty empowering. And I'm certain that others felt this as well.
I'm so glad.
And
Yes.
so you have given us beautiful example of receiving the energy, transmitting the energy, and allowing it to transform. When you do this yourself, what do you feel?
It's definitely not as like a Mount Shasta experience because I'm so used to it now. It depends how I'm channeling. So this one I feel like was more conscious channeling where I can go in and out very easily.
Okay.
So I feel much more like myself. There's energy more coming from my heart out through my hands and around my crown. But when I'm in trance, like even though I'm not in my body, I can still like I can really feel it. Like it's very palpable and very potent. So there's different ways that I channel this energy, but this time it was just conscious channeling, and so it feels very natural in my body.
Yes, that word natural. Go ahead and click your original sound
Oh,
off if you
thank you.
would. The naturalness that we feel, I want to mention that because when I say remembrance, there was a memory, there was a familiarity to it. And right now I feel like crying because,
Mhm.
um, and I wonder how many others watching this are feeling this connection with the dragons. It would be beautiful for those to share in a chat, send us an email. I'm sensing many are remembering this dragon energy. And you had said that it would be, a little forceful, but it was more for me like no nonsense love. No nonsense
Yes,
love.
yes, they're
Like,
very direct. So yes, absolutely.
like we love you.
Hmm.
And like they've always been here, but yet we forget about them. And so last year, as it was a year of the dragon, they're in force.
Hmm.
And because they came to you a few years before that year of the dragon in the Chinese astrology or the lunar astrology, let's just say, what would you say about, yeah, that was definitely a time and a place, right? Here it was after 2012, but it was in the lead up to that beautiful year that they were coming forward. And you totally took the reins and you grabbed on, and here you are. And that's
Hmm.
beautiful.
Yeah,
That's
thank
so
you.
cool.
Again, it was a journey. This was not easy. Where I am, it feels easy now, but as I was going through that, I was going through, my own insecurities and my own
Yeah.
struggles and my own like having to create new patterns and transmute and all those things, heal. Yeah, and it feels easy now, but no, wherever you are in your journey, for those who are listening, it gets better and it gets to get better. That's the thing.
It gets to get better. It gets to get easier. We can move through things easier. Now, with the dragons in your life, when you come up against triggers,
Yeah.
how are they helping you? How does this help you move through all of it? Or are you still triggered? I don't know. Maybe you're
Oh my
not.
God, of course I'm triggered. Yes, of course I'm
So
triggered.
human. Yeah.
I feel like I have to be Dalai Lama status not to be triggered, you know?
Okay.
But no, of course I'm triggered. I feel though like I'll get triggered, but then soon after, I'll be very aware of what I'm thinking. And then some sort of compassion and empathy will overcome me. It's not like I'm swearing or I'm wishing bad, ill thoughts at people anymore. It's more
Uh,
like, oh my God, I wonder. I wonder what's going on with them. Like, why are they in such a hurry? I hope everything's okay, you know, or if they like
Ah,
flip me off or something, I'm like, wow, they're having a really bad day, you know, and like I just seem to happen to be in that path of, you know, them on a the line and vibration of just being pissed off, you know, because when people
right.
are angry, sometimes they're just really they really latch on and hold on to that, thinking that that's going to make them feel better, or they may not even know how to let go of it. So it's
Right.
just like the entire day they're in that energy of anger, and sometimes you're just like happen to be, you know, a bystander or you know an innocent person standing on the sidelines, and they just happen to scrape by you. But yeah, no, I do feel like absolutely I get triggered, but there's you know a correction or a reframing or just like an awareness of like it's bigger than just me. You know, it's not personal. It's not personal. Something is going on with them, and you know, like they're needing love, they're needing support, and they're not getting it. So I kind of see it that way. And I, you know, I do the same with my
Nice.
kids. You know, like I have teenagers. Oh my gosh, I
Uh-huh.
that is the toughest age. And as parents, I know it's like super tough. And some that is a little bit harder, I think, because I'm really in it. Um, but yeah, I mean, they remind me that my children are my teachers. Like I'm not their teacher. They're teaching me the things, right? When they're triggering me,
Yeah.
they're teaching me what is still unhealed, what I still need to work on. So,
Yes,
yeah.
that's so beautiful. And that dragon energy fortifies you. And so when you said that you're watching your thoughts with that dragon energy, that makes a lot of sense too. Mount Shasta for our group was very much like that. It was as
Mhm.
if we were, it was as if it was almost a mirror. So maybe the dragon energy presents it to us as a mirror. We can see where we're thinking and we can course correct,
Mm-hmm.
right? We
Yeah,
can
course
course
correct.
correct and say, okay, we're not going to feel that way or move past it. There's a fortification. Thank you. I love this. And I am sure that all of those watching are feeling this and feeling elated. And so now we just want to like work more with you and experience more with you. So we're going to talk about a way that people can do that. And this is where it gets really exciting because you've got a beautiful special offer. This is an incredible package. It is a course to expand your vocal expression and light language.
Yes.
Wow, tell us about this. What's involved?
So, man, it's a lot. It is a lot of content. It is a lot of exercises. It's a lot of practice, and it's meant to be a lot of practice because our voice is the bridge between our upper and lower chakras. I know some people say the heart. I use my throat because I've struggled so much with my voice my whole life. You know, I went from someone who was very passive and very pious, I might say, to now somebody who's just like very vocal and very outgoing and very, you know, like I'm putting myself out there. And so this course really helps people to feel more empowered by their words and by the vibration that comes out of their mouth, even if it's not word, even if it's just sound. You know, like when you'd ask people in a event or a class to take deep breaths in and out, those are not breaths. I mean, I can't even hear them, right? So we're at this point where it's like it is okay to let people hear you breathe. And so I want people to be able to see this as a tool of empowerment and as the portal by which their gifts can flow through because you have to use your voice to explain, right? You have to use your voice to express. And through basically getting very intimate with your chakras. You become, I like to describe it as you become the chakras. This is not a chakra course, but it's almost like you become the chakras. You know your chakras so well that when you do a scan, you know exactly where it's blocked or where it's unbalanced and where you need to go to work on it yourself. And as we work on each of the chakras from the bottom up, it becomes like each chakra that starts to open, that starts to expand, just becomes like this momentum and this power for all the other chakras to open. And so when we become this clear channel, we are so connected and so aligned with divine source energy. And that is where we can connect with our own soul light language, the unique DNA expression of who we are, and not just being able to speak our own light language, be able to like communicate, with the Pleiadians, the Turians, the fairies, different dragon lineages, even, with trees and with rocks, like whatever and whomever you want to be able to channel as that sort of healing vibration. That is also something that comes out of it. And honestly, I didn't think that it would, I mean, I knew it would make an impact, but the people who have gone through the course, it hasn't just changed them spiritually. It's affected like every part of their life because they have worked so much on themselves internally that it's just poured out, overflowed into the other parts of their life as well. So it's a very powerful course that I would love for anyone who feels aligned to that, who feels like they need to be able to use their voice, to be seen, heard, to take up a space in the world, to feel more confident, to be able to express, to just be able feel safe in speaking and singing and making weird sounds. This would be the course for you.
Thank you. That is really empowering, and it's 8 weeks long.
Yes.
This is almost for leaders. When someone completes this course, what can they do with it? Can they step into a leadership role, or is this more primarily just to get their life in order and their gifts opened?
It can be for both, but I feel like for those who have already um, are comfortable with their clair gifts, with the gifts their intuitive gifts that they've been working with, I feel like it will flow much easier for them because chakras won't be new to them, for example. Like they'll already have like a basic understanding of chakras. So they're not learning from square one. Now, for others who this might be really, really new, um, I don't know how to phrase this. It's challenging because I ask you to step out of your comfort zone. That's part of it too, is that you're going to constantly be challenged to go outside of your comfort zone, to break out of the box, because that is kind of where you find like your empowerment. That is where you find like what you are actually capable of. So I wouldn't say it's like, I don't know. It's not an easy course. It's a challenging course. And it's meant, again, for those who do want to make a difference in the world, but they are having a little bit of a problem with being able to express what it is that they want to say, how they want to say it, and also, um, fear of what other people will say about them. So it works on all of that. Like be so freaking confident in who you are and why you're here and what you're meant to do that like you don't care what it is that you say because you know what is coming out of your voice is your truth and you're speaking it from your heart, from love. So, it's not like you're going to start offending people, although sometimes you can't help but offend people. But everything is really meant to come from a place of empowerment and love and fierce, fierce truth.
And I love that because what you said is what so many light workers and healers are up against, where we are embarrassed
Yes.
or shy or not confident
Mhm.
saying this or even speaking light language. And what's very interesting is wow, the past 12 years, 13, 14 years since 2012, a lot more people spontaneously start speaking light language. and some shut it down because it's like,
Mhm.
oh, I'm just making it up.
Yeah.
But what you're doing is giving each of us taking this course license to speak that voice, to speak our truth and not to hide it away
Right.
and not to care what other people think. That's a huge one. Caring about what other people think is the number one thing that takes us off our mission. And
Hmm.
so, by you assisting us with that and the dragons assisting us with that, we are stepping into those powerful roles. And this is life changing for those who are ready for it. So, thank you
Absolutely.
for that. Thank you. Thank you. I
Yes.
want to say the details for this are all on this webpage. Scroll down on the page that got you to this program or click the link in the description box for this video, and you'll see this course and how you can participate in it. For those who need the assistance, we have a two payment plan and a three payment plan. If that helps you, because we want to make this easy for everyone. If your heart resonates with it, then we want you to take part in it. That
Mhm.
is a big part of your journey. So listen to your heart and see if it's for you.
Mhm.
Teresa, do you want to share anything else about this course and the transformation on the flip side for people to experience?
Yeah, I mean, I have people who have been seasoned healers, and I have people who have taken classes but have not actually put themselves out there. And by the end of the course, they're like, their gifts have expanded so much. Even some of them are like working with dragons already, like I have a dragon practitioner program that helps people with that, but they're already like steps ahead of my dragon practitioner program students. So, and then for those who, maybe have, I guess I'll just call it dabble, you've trained, but kind of just dabble in it. You're not sure where to take it. This will give you a lot of clarity because it will show you what you're capable of. It'll show you who you are. It'll show you how freaking powerful, your gifts are. I don't say that in an egotistical way. I say that in an empowering way because we seem to dull down, we seem to like put a protection around our light for some reason. Like this will make you want to be seen, want to be heard because you believe in it so much. You believe in what it is that you want to do,
Yeah.
what you want to say.
Yes, thank you. We do want to be seen. We do want to be heard. And for those who are not there yet, that could be a struggling spot. So thank you. Thank you for this empowering course because we're ready. Yes, every one of us is ready. We speak with the voice of love, through love, and with love. And that is why we've incarnated. So,
Yes.
I see this as a leadership course. If people can then step into leadership roles from it, that's really important. If they don't, then they don't have to.
Hmm.
But this will really empower that leader in all of us. And
Yeah.
anyone who's watching this program, is a New Earth leader.
Yes.
So thank you for that, Teresa. We are so excited for this. And again, we invite all of you to check that out. Come back and listen to the activation that you heard today in this program. Listen to it again and see how you feel. See how things shift in your life. See how you continue to work with the dragon energy. And you're always invited to check out Teresa Wynn's site and learn more from her and join her in this journey and more journeys with the dragons and all of it. Teresa, as we say goodbye, I just want to give you a moment for final thoughts or reflection.
Hmm. Yeah. As we're all sort of navigating life and trying to figure out um where we want to go and who we want to be, it's really important to be discerning about what you're taking in and what you're hearing. And if
Mhm.
something doesn't align, um, just trust that. Even if that person has been somebody maybe that you followed for a long time, suddenly something doesn't feel right, just trust that and allow yourself to you know, believe in what it is that your body feels Um, and it's okay if your mind like doesn't align with it. I really feel like that we need to remember that no matter what, only we can choose what the truth is for ourselves. We can't choose what the truth is for other people. And whatever your truth is, it's not right or wrong. So that's like the other thing. But be very discerning about what it is that you're digesting, ingesting, absorbing, and listening to. And if it's not from a place of love, if it doesn't feel right, then it's okay to shut it down.
Thank you. Perfectly said. And that is really important as we navigate these times. The power is within us, and we pay immaculate attention to how we feel inside, and we know how to shift it when we are not aligned. We know how to do that. Thank you, Teresa Wynn. This has been a beautiful activation and a lovely conversation. We look forward to seeing you again here at New Earth One Network. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you so
Namaste.
much. Thank you so much.
Thank you for listening to this quantum conversation, and thank you for dancing with us to the cosmic heart. As we raise our own vibration, we raise the vibration of the planet. This show is dedicated to you and all awakening hearts, as we are here to shine our bright light and amplify our love. I'm Loren Gailey, and from my sacred heart to yours, I honor your magnificent love and light. We leave you now with music from the universe. Music literally created by the universe, as musical notes were assigned to mathematical equations. The result is this beautiful music, available at acoustichealth.com. Namaste.